And, you know, my customers like me because they think, you know, I get along with their kids. I always try to remember something about them. I always have a good word or something like that. So when I opened up my show, I just started on stage. I was like, you know, most of you guys know me as a Stewart's girl. I'm cool to your kids. I always remember something about you. I always have a nice word. And then I took my visor off and I dropped my locks and I was like, that bitch ain't here. And then I just went in on talking about the customers. And really how it even started, I was like...
I paint because the pen and brush are usually a much stronger voice for me. Growing up, I had a speech impediment at a young age. So it wasn't until my aunt, who was a teacher of arts at a university, took me in around age 6, where she would invite me over to her house every summer to come to paint. She'd teach me all the basics of you know, the anatomy, floral and fauna, all the basic stuff.
But this was in the northwestern part of Romania. I was on a trip to Hungary where I was singing Hungarian folk songs at a festival over there. I had been the lead singer of a band called the Balkanizers.
I was the singer for a stage show called Chippendales. They called it a musical with muscle. They took dancers, they took singers, they took tracks, they took costumes, and it did really well around Europe. And a very big choreographer that had done a couple of Madonna videos told them about me, and they had wanted a black singer, because this was also the year of Milli Vanilli.
So role-playing games are the first thing I wound up writing professionally and publishing. Actually, the second thing. The first thing I ever wrote was a travel article. That's a different story. And I started playing role-playing games back in high school because it was the 80s and role-playing games were super popular and associated with Satan and the devil, and that was really attractive, you know, to be a rebel and yet...
As soon as you describe it and label it as something, like I have this poem and I was like really depressed one day. I wrote the poem and it came out absolutely perfect. It's a very negative poem. It uses a lot of very negative imagery, but as soon as I had written it, I was like, all right, that's done. Like I can move on. Like
I struggle very hard between my backyard and the big backyard. And so, you know, I stepped up for the water in our community, and when I did, I said, wait a minute, you're worried about your tiny lake. You better widen your scope. And then I saw the other communities that were affected. And then I saw the pipelines coming in.
I've been coming to Beacon for years. In fact, I actually went to camp here in Beacon and used to take the cable car up to the top of the mountain. Probably one of the top things on my list of where to move was somewhere where there's an active art community and like-minded people.
Since I was a kid, I always went to what they call Motown reviews. They call them Motortown reviews. In the death zone. My first one, I saw Stevie Wonder as a kid doing fingertips, but he was much older than I was, but he's doing fingertips. And so every year that you would go, my mother had a habit of having us go to the...
Matthew and I used to play on the street. We played under Washington Square Arch. And so we're out there playing one summer day, and we got a crowd around us, and there's a guy in the crowd, he's got a boom mic, and he's recording us, and we're like, you know, whatever. And after we kind of finish our set, he hands us his business card. Ernie Altschuler, Playboy Records. We call Ernie, and sure enough, 2 months later, we're in Los Angeles.
And he's like, everybody move out of the way, nothing to see here. It's August Alsina coming through. And they start going nuts. Girls are jumping over the gate, like kissing me on the face. I'm like, oh my God, this is getting crazy. Like, there's no way they're really binding, like trying to take pictures with me. I'm trying not to lift my head up because they're gonna obviously see it's me, but like sometimes I was lifting my head up. We must have been drunk or whatever, like drunk little college girls that didn't even pay no mind. It was just like, oh my God, it's him, it's him. And then like we get to the front and the guy's like, all right, where's the weed you guys promised us? And as soon as he says that, the lights shut off and Drake comes out. It was like, get out of my way. It just started going crazy. Like, that's just how the show started, you know?
I know that we've been through our ups and downs. Word around town is that I'm out here doing my thing right now.